Hi everybody and welcome to Ku-ring-gai Council's Smart Schools Update for 2022. Thanks for coming. We hope that you've enjoyed a relaxing holiday break, those of you who've been on school holidays, and have begun term 4 with a spring in your step. On behalf of Ku-ring-gai Council, I recognise the traditional custodians of the land and pay tribute to elders past and present. My name is Sally Erickson and I'm the Sustainability Education Officer at Ku-ring-gai Council, your point of contact for any of the sustainable education programs that you will see here this afternoon. My role at Council is to recommend environmental education programs to educational institutions within our LGA and put you in touch with providers both inside and outside of Council. I've been a primary school teacher for over 20 years and I look forward to getting to know you all and sharing my experiences in implementing sustainable initiatives in schools and early learning. Now to some housekeeping. We will be recording today's webinar to send around to other schools who couldn't be here today. So don't worry, no one will be able to see you or hear you. In fact, I cannot even see you. So I'm hoping that there are lots of people there. If you have any questions about anything, then feel free to type them in the Q&A box for us to answer at the end in our Q&A session with the presenters. So the chat box is just for technical issues, general comments, hyperlinks, and that sort of thing. So we've had a lot of recent extreme climatic events, and this has motivated millions of students and their families to learn how to care for the planet. As sustainability is a cross-curriculum priority, schools and early learning are looking for ways to embed sustainability education into their teaching programs. Likewise, early learning is also focusing heavily on developing sustainable habits in children and their families. So this afternoon, we would like to showcase what Council can deliver to schools to inspire and engage and educate students and staff, not only about the natural environment, but how to live more sustainably. So the format this afternoon will be 6 informal presentations from our 6 experts from our environment and sustainability team, our ranger experts at the Ku-ring-gai Wildflower Garden, and our waste team. If you are from a preschool or early learning centre, please be aware that only the first and second speakers programs are available to your age groups. And if you have any questions for any of our speakers at any time, please feel free to enter them in the Q&A box. So first of all, we're going to start off with Dr. Alex Austin, who's going to tell us about his Wild Things Native Stingless Bee program. Over to you, Alex.
Thanks, Sally. So I run the many of the environmental programs at Ku-ring-gai Council, one of those being the Stingless Bee program. So this is where we propagate and grow stingless beehives, and then we bring them to schools and install them on the school premises. They're a great tool to learn with, and the kids get really engaged in it. We've also got some new options this year as well. So we've been working on developing some new hive types that are going to be really great for the school. So we've got an observation hive, which will allow you to remove the lid and look inside the hive without actually disturbing the bees. So the kids will be able to watch that hive grow and develop over time, which is really exciting. And then on top of that, we've introduced a new honey collector layer that will be able to go with our hives, so that in a couple of years' time, you'll be able to have a honey harvest each year, which I'm sure the students and probably a lot of the teachers will be pretty pleased about as well. So you can see there those 2 iterations. And we've also got a new security pack available as well. So if you're a bit concerned about the hive being moved or you're worried about security, we've got a new pack that will allow the hive to be secured really well, and short of someone who comes in with some bolt cutters, it'll keep it nice and safe for you. The other thing that I do and that I work on is our bee hotels. So these are relatively new. We've only really had them in circulation for about 12 months now, but they're really popular and they're a really great learning tool for the students. So there's a lot more hands-on involvement with the bee hotels. You have to manage them, you have to change the materials, and you get to see a really broad selection of species with those. In fact, I've just got back into the office from installing one today at Sydney Grammar. So I really hope that a few of you will want some more. This particular one is at Gordon Community Primary. And you can see they make a really great feature for the garden, and the students get a really great opportunity to engage with some bee species that they've probably never heard of before. So that encapsulates what I do. And I really hope that some of you will want to do a bit more of this sort of stuff at your school.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so secondly, Ranger Anna Forward will explain the exciting science excursions and incursions at the beautiful Ku-ring-gai Wildflower Garden. Over to you, Anna.
Thank you, Sally. Hi, yeah, my name's Anna and I'm an environmental educator here at the Wildflower Garden. And we have lots of different options in terms of our excursions and incursions. So just if you don't know exactly where we are, we're based on Monavale Road in St Ives. We have about 150 hectares actually of bushland, really great bush tracks suited to all ages. We have recently done some upgrades to our education centre. So we have a really good indoor area to meet some of the fauna that we keep. And lots of different opportunities, which I can tell you about as well. So I think we might start with incursions, Sally. Yeah, so a little look at the incursions that we have on offer. You will usually pick from a few different options. They're all available on the website. The most popular one is to bring along some of our collection of fauna. So sometimes you might meet, that's pebbles actually on the screen, you might meet a snake, a turtle. We have lots of different reptiles and lots of local species, which I think is really important to learn a little bit about the local species in this area. And I often bring along a selection of native plants, and we might look at their uses. And I just picked a quick example actually. You've probably seen this one before. It's the wattle, the Acacia longifolia, the golden wattle, which has just finished flowering. And a lot of them actually have these beautiful seed pods on them now, which you might be able to see just there. But this one's really good because it has so many different uses. The main one is that acacia soap. So you rub the leaves together, and it's the only variety actually out of all the acacias that you can make an amazing foamy soap out of, and it's an antibacterial. So so many different plants that we talk about at the Wildflower Garden with their uses. That's just one of them. So yeah, the main focus for those incursions is the living world science, but we are open to any suggestions if you want to focus on a particular thing for your class. And we do the sessions as 1 hour for $185, and we can break that up actually into 2 30-minute sessions. So maybe you've got a really big stage 1 class that you want, or maybe 6 classes for stage 1. So we could do 3 classes for half an hour and 3 classes for half an hour. So we can sort of work it to suit your needs. And moving on to excursions. Thanks, Sally. So yes, all syllabus linked excursions. The most popular, I suppose, are those science living world ones. And they differ slightly as we go from early stage 1 up to stage 6, obviously. Geography is a really great one that we have here. We have lots of great equipment that we use for our geography excursion, and the Indigenous studies. Obviously, we touch on the bush tucker, and we have a lot of different things we like to talk about as well in terms of the animals that we keep here and how we can link that to Indigenous studies. I just brought along actually a little friend. I think we saw him in the images before. He's one of our popular ones. This is Tiny, and he's a long-necked turtle. So in terms of meeting him at the Wildflower Garden, you would meet him in his habitat area, and we would talk about his habitat. For the living world excursion, for example, we would focus on his, his features and his adaptations in terms of, oh, it's hard to, can we all see him okay there? Yeah, so he's a local turtle, and we like to focus on the local eastern turtles, because we've got the eastern blue tongues and the eastern long-necked turtles as well. So that's Tiny. He's got a few friends that we use as well. I'll put him back. So a full day excursion is 10 till 2. It's $419, and that's up to 30 students. So if you've got 3 classes, it would be that charge of $419 per class. And then we do the half day excursion, which is probably more popular for the preschoolers because they get a bit more tired, and that's 10 till 12:30, and that's $315 with the same cap of 30 students. Excellent. And I think, have I got another slide, Sally?
Yes, yes,
Yep.
you do.
Oh, excellent. So I think I've kind of covered a lot of the things that you can expect. So there's usually 3 sessions for that full day excursion. You'll go on a bushwalk. There might be a chance to look at some native plants. So we either do some dip netting or bug hunting, depending on the theme that you've picked, and a close-up encounter with the fauna that is relevant to the excursion that you've picked. I think that's, and yeah, so if you want to get in touch, I look after all the school programs here. So you can go to the website and have a look at all the options. They're all really well sort of detailed on our website, so you can actually pick which one you want, and then just send a form, and that will get sent straight to the Wildflower Garden, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Or you can just call us, and all the contact details for our email address and our phone number are there.
Perfect. Thank you, Anna.
No worries.
That was great to hear about the Wildflower Garden. All right, moving along. Now we're up to our Solar My School expert, Anuj Dahir, will uncover the mystery of how you can get solar panels on your school buildings. Over to you, Anuj.
Thank you, Sally, and hello, everyone. Let me introduce you to a fantastic program called Solar My School. The program, with support from local councils such as ours, assists local schools to install solar on their rooftops. The program was started in partnership between 3 councils, namely Waverley, Randwick, and Woollahra. Over the years, the program has engaged over 190 schools, some of which are in Ku-ring-gai. Many of these schools are already enjoying the savings the solar PV systems deliver. Putting solar on rooftops of schools have some very obvious benefits, which is why the program is such a success. One being that schools tend to have very large, mostly unshaded roofs. And secondly, the schools operate during the day, which is when the panels generate electricity. So using solar power at the time it is generated is probably the cheapest and the most efficient way of using energy. So how does it work? Well, once the school is shortlisted, Solar My School will organize a free feasibility study and report back to the schools. The feasibility study is fairly extensive and will identify any site limitations that might exist and explore all possible opportunities with estimated costs and savings. Thus, it provides schools with all the information it needs to identify a suitable system. For this project, Solar My School will help school access funds, such as available grants, and assist them with their application if needed. With their vast experience with other schools, they also help schools identify various other fundraising opportunities and ideas. The team will project manage the entire installation. For public schools, this includes working with the Department of Education and meeting the requirements. And for all other schools, it would include managing the whole tendering and evaluation process too. Solar on school rooftops provide a great opportunity to celebrate and teach kids about renewable energy. Solar My School can organize activities to celebrate the installation, such as solar car racing or building solar buddy lights for students of certain age groups. They can also help teachers develop a curriculum that will help students learn more about renewable energy. There are some pictures from Linfield East Public School, which was taken a couple of months ago. Our mayor had kindly joined us in those celebrations. Children seem to have had really enjoyed building their solar cars and racing them on the racetrack. You can well imagine the joy a car race will bring to a group of kids. Over the last 3 years, Ku-ring-gai Council, through Solar My School, has engaged with 11 local schools who are at various stages in this program. 4 of these schools have already completed their installation and are on the way of making some great savings. This year, we're looking up to about 5 more schools to join us. Invitations have already been sent out to offices of all local schools, and registrations are open until the 28th of October. If you'd like your school to be part of this program, just head to a council's Smart School webpage and follow the link for registration in the Solar My School section. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach me via email or just call using the number on the screen. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Anuj. That was great to hear about Solar My Schools. We're going to move along now to Lindy Williams, who's going to discuss how school students can be involved in bush care and other things. Over to you, Lindy.
Thanks, Sally. Hi, everyone. Lindy Williams. I'm the coordinator of the Volunteer for Nature programs for Council. The largest of these programs is Bush Care. Bush Care is a community-based program where volunteers tackle the threats of to our local bushland areas. And one of the major threats is invasive plant species. Consequently, removing those invasive plants is one of the main activities for volunteers. But we also plant and erect silk fences and do some nature photography and rubbish collection, all sorts of other bits and pieces. The most common way for students to get involved is through the Duke of Edinburgh Award Scheme. If your school is actively involved with the Duke of Ed, I would encourage you to present bush care as an option to your students. However, anyone over the age of 14 is welcome to join. Another slide, Sally?
Sure.
Okay, so students pick up some lifelong skills, volunteering in bush care, plant identification, plant physiology, things like growth forms, reproduction, structure, things like that. Some learn some hands-on weeding techniques, and they learn about common issues that negatively impact the bushland. But more importantly, what actions can be taken to prevent and minimize these further damage. So it's very engaging and positively affirming. By joining bush care, students will also be they'll be part of a strong community of volunteers who foster a long-term stewardship of our local bushland reserves. They experience working alongside a diverse group of the community, a cross-section of the community, in mixed age groups and cultural groups, and they'll have the experience of being mentored by more experienced bush carers. Now, our bush care groups generally meet once a month outside of school hours. To complete the Duke of Edinburgh requirements, participating students will experience multiple groups on a variety of sites, which makes it all the more interesting for them because they'll get to see and experience a lot of different plant communities. That's to achieve their target hours. Bush care is free. Council provides tools, training by qualified bush regenerators, and protective PPE gear like hats and gloves and things like that. So that is for the sort of the teenage group, but I just wanted to touch on other services that we offer, like assistance in facilitating school planting days on the school grounds and in school hours. If there's an area in your school that's appropriate for planting, we can provide advice on the site preparation and planning. We can help source the plants, and we can generally give plants to the schools. We demonstrate the techniques to the students on how to plant successfully and how to encourage the growth and look after them. And we'll also provide all the tools and everything, the plant guards, everything to go on the day. This service is available for high schools and upper primary school students. I think there's another one. That's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your time and attention. The Volunteer for Nature programs are a great activity for all these age groups. It's a terrific way for students to learn how to protect the environment and give back to the local community, and a niche set of skills in a beautiful outdoor setting. So we really encourage you to get your students involved in the Duke of Edinburgh Award for Bush Care Community Service. Thank you.
Super. Thanks, Lindy. Okay, that was good to hear about that. I just wanted to remind everyone out there participating that if you have any questions for any of our speakers, now is the perfect time to start putting them in the Q&A box. All right, we're going to move along now, and James Chan is going to explain his Climate Wise Communities program. Thanks, James.
Hello, everyone. My name is James Chan. I'm a Sustainability Project Officer here at Ku-ring-gai Council, and I help deliver the Climate Wise Communities program here for the community. I do that alongside Dr. Jenny Scott. So about the Climate Wise Communities program, next slide, please. This program was established in the wake of the Black Saturday fires in 2009 and incorporates all the findings that came out of the subsequent Royal Commission. However, it was expanded to include other extreme weather events such as storms, heat waves, and floods. So, and as I'm sure you're aware, climate change is making these extreme weather events more intense and more frequent. And so this program is designed to, to help the community become a bit more resilient to that. As you know, we had a drought, we had record-breaking heat waves, black summer fires, storms, and storms that lashed North Shore around about the same time. And this is all evidence of a changing climate. This program aims to help the Ku-ring-gai community to adapt and become more resilient to these risks, and that includes the youngest amongst us. So one way we do this is by the Climate Wise Communities website, which you can see in front of you. That's just a portion of the website's homepage. Another is via the 3D bushfire simulation workshops, which incorporates a 3D bushfire simulator. Next slide, please. Oh, there we are. Yep. So these workshops incorporate the website and the 3D bushfire simulation that's brought to you by the SimTable. So we create a workshop that weaves these two things together. However, we are sensitive to the age groups which we deliver these programs to, and we can adapt to any ages from preschool through to high school. And we can deliver these workshops by incursions into schools or excursions to places like the Wildflower Garden. The incursions can be done in person or virtually via Zoom. Now, if you would choose to go via a incursion in person workshop, well then the students will benefit from a 3D simulation that's delivered, as I said, by the SimTable. Now, the SimTable is a highly portable setup, and it can be set up in the classroom within 15 minutes of arrival in the classroom, so it's very quick. And it can also be connected to a projector in case you have a large class size, so that everyone can get a good view of what's happening on the SimTable. So how the SimTable works is that it is made up of a tray of crushed walnut shell, and then there's a projector that's mounted on top on a stand that projects an image down onto the tray of crushed walnut shell. Well, how we get the 3D effect is that the crushed walnut shell is then shaped into the terrain of the Ku-ring-gai area, and then a aerial image is then projected on top of this crushed walnut shell to create the 3D effect of the local area. And then a bushfire can be started at any point on this tray. Now, the fire behavior can change in response to wind speed and direction, which we can manipulate ourselves. And the fire behavior can change according to terrain. So this is a very good way of explaining how terrain and weather conditions can influence the way fire behaves. It is a very highly visual and tactile experience, and it uses many modes of learning and is great at capturing the attention of children of all ages. The SimTable is great for bushfire awareness, geography, and generally inspiring students to study STEM subjects. I would highly recommend these workshops, as extreme weather preparedness is critically important for everyone living in Ku-ring-gai, as it is the third most bushfire at risk LGA in metropolitan Sydney. Lastly, I'd like to point out that children can play a very important role in disaster preparedness and response within their family, and this kind of training is very important for their mental health should a disaster strike. And the more prepared they are, the better they will come out the other end. Thank you very much, Sally.
Excellent. Thank you, James. That was very interesting. All right. We're going to move on to our last speaker now. I would like to introduce Sally Allport from our waste team, who's going to give us the lowdown on how you can access waste workshops, incursions, and find solutions to your curly waste questions. Sally has a bit of a sore throat today, but she will do her best.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. I apologise for the voice. I hope it holds out. Now, we have a number of waste options available to schools. The first being our environmentals incursions, which you may be familiar with. These workshops are offered at the start of each year, each calendar year, by way of invitation. And they're also offered at a set time to allow for pre-planning. The workshops are offered on a first come basis, unless we get too many, more schools interested than what we can offer. So we have up to 20 workshops a year, and they'll be allocated to schools who haven't received a visit in the year prior. Workshops are presented by qualified teachers and tailored to each learning stage and are curriculum linked. Each school will be allocated one day, being approximately 5 workshops or 5 classes with approximately 150 students in total. The Keep New South Wales Beautiful team need an all-weather location for the day, and schools can choose between a number of workshop options, being recycling, in the bin, lunches unwrapped, composting, worm farming, garbage to garden, school audits, and litter. We still have workshops available for this year, so if anyone's interested, you can contact us and we can arrange for Keep New South Wales Beautiful to come out and visit. And if you'd like some more information on each of the modules listed above, then it's all available on the Environmentals website, where the link is there. The other option that we have, the second option, is our online learning. We have a program called Future Resources, which is a student challenge to come up with an innovative solution to solve a particular waste issue. It's 6 weeks of sustainability education, which is linked to the Australian curriculum. There's access to educational resources, activities and prizes, and support from sustainability specialists throughout the program. There's information there about when the registration's open, being term 1, and closing on the 1st to the 7th, where the program commences in term 3. Killara Public School actually were the winners for 2021 with their smart bins and app. So if you'd like some more information or want to find out how they enjoyed the program, contact Killara Public School. I'm sure they'd be pleased to give you some advice regarding that. Excuse me. The other option we have is Cool Australia. So there's 32 free lessons available, which are based for early learning, primary and secondary schools. So if you go onto our website, we have a page on schools activities. There will be some information on the Cool Australia teaching resources. Available also is our recycling quiz, which is a fun interactive way to learn about what you can and can't recycle. You get a score at the end and a prize if you get 100%, but you can keep doing the quiz till you get 100%, and then you're eligible for the prize, along with our video, which is also available on Council's website, which has got some good footage of recycling, sorting and other things relating to waste. Kimbriki Eco House and Garden have got a brand new education hub. It's currently for kinder to year 6, but they've got high school resources coming online soon. So you can see the link there where there's more information to view their education resources. And finally, we do have some excursions available in the waste section as far as Kimbriki Resource and Recovery Centre. They allow school visits, and you can liaise with Kimbriki directly. And teachers can also are welcome to join the resident composting workshops, which are either on site at Kimbriki or online. The next one is on the 18th of November, the next online composting workshop, which you can register online for. And the Veolia landfill, unfortunately, is a 3-hour drive from here near Goulburn, but it is available to any schools, maybe of interest to senior geography students. That's all I have,
Excellent.
Molly. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Sally. That's really great to hear about all of those waste programs. And we've got so much stuff that I wasn't even aware of. So yeah, so I'm sure that's been very beneficial for all of our listeners today. Thanks everyone for presenting. There are just a couple of additional environmental programs that I'm going to tell you about, just some little bits and pieces. So the first thing is the Nestbox program. So that has been rolled out for the first time this year, and it teaches about protecting our native fauna. We have rolled it out to Linfield East Public School and Wahroonga Public School, as well as Lady Game Community Kindy. And they got their own free nest box and an educational program delivered to stage 3 students or to early learning children. And that was all curriculum linked. So email me if you're interested in going on the waitlist for 2023. Another thing is that council will provide schools with a free 240 litre return and earn bin for the collection of all of your 10-cent refundable drink containers. So if you would like to be involved with that, then please email me and I'll put you through to the waste team that organise that. Let me know if you would like a council expert to present at your school or early learning centre on a range of flora, fauna and animal habitat topics. So schools can ask for free native tube stock and advice from Jocelyn, who's our flora expert here at council. And again, just let me know if you're interested and I'll pass you on. There are also water smart rebates for rain gardens, water tanks, green roofs, and there's more info on the council website. So you can actually apply for a rebate if you want to install any of those things. And the last rebate is the Compost Revolution website. It offers around 40% discount on different types of compost bins, worm farms, bokashi bins, and all the accessories that go with them. So you just search for Compost Revolution Ku-ring-gai on your search engine and up it comes. Everything you order is mailed to you and it's complete with instructions for how to do it and follow-ups to help you along the way. So that's a really good thing to know if you're looking at some composting or worm farming things for your school or early learning. Oh, and the last thing, the Environmental Levy Grant is opening next year in March for schools, community groups and not-for-profit organisations. You can apply for up to $5,000 worth of an environmental project of your choice. So usually we get things like veggie gardens installed, or we get some bush regeneration done, things like that, but it's up to you. Okay, so just to sort of summarise, we've talked about all of these 6 different things. And again, if you've got any questions for our speakers, please pop them in the Q&A box now. I can see that we actually do have 3 questions. So I'm going to just have a look at what those are now. Okay, so this is a question from Taramara at Tennyson Ave. Besides the first 2, the bees and the wildflower gardens, what other ways could early educators become more involved and connect with the council and community? So that's a really good question. Is there anyone that would like to put their hand up to answer that one? How can early learning educators or early educators become more involved and connect with the council and community?
I might just jump in there for you, Sally. Look, one of the great ways is, of course, to subscribe to the Smart School newsletter and just be, keep abreast with what the council has been doing and various opportunities that come up for schools. Wildflower Garden, as we mentioned, is a great place to start too. But if you're looking for anything further, businesses generally, which include private preschools, can also get rebates and look at energy saving opportunities with our Better Business program, which is basically it's a shared program among regionally shared programs with different councils, but we do have a representative in council who looks after this program, so you can definitely engage with them. But yes, otherwise, if you ever feel that there is an opportunity that you want to avail, or if you've got some ideas, you are more than welcome to reach out to Sally or any one of us, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Excellent. Thanks, Anuj, for jumping in there. Yeah, and I suppose the other thing that you could do if you were keen was you could join one of our net zero communities groups. We've got 3 different groups going in the area of community organics. The second group is reuse, recycle group, repair group. And the third one is electrification and solar and EV. So if you're interested in any of those areas, you could also become involved with those, and that would feed back to your knowledge of what you know about those things that could actually feed back to when you're teaching your children. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. I have another group here from Araya, and Araya is also in early learning, and she would like to know how early learning centres can apply for the environmental levy grant. So is there anyone that would like to take that question? Thanks, Lindy.
Well, the early learning centres that are not-for-profits may apply, but if it's a registered business with an ABN that is for profit, then it's actually not included. Yes, it's the schools is public, public schools, not-for-profit schools, community groups, individuals, but the environmental levy isn't open to for businesses that for profit, if you see what I mean. Yeah.
And the info is just on the website, isn't it, Lindy?
Yes, there's a lot of information on the website, frequently asked questions and details about how to apply, or what you can apply for.
And there are also some details of previous recipients of the the grant, so you can see the kinds of things on the website that other people have got grants for, so you can get an idea of the direction to take.
Yes.
Okie doke. I hope that answered your question, Araya. Are there any other questions at all? If not, I've got some questions.
There was one there, Sally, I think we just missed. I put it into the answered column. I think KU West Pymble was just saying that many early learning centres are leading the way with initiatives and encouraging children's immersion in nature. Is it possible to extend all of our programs to preschools?
Oh, that would be amazing. I mean, it would be amazing. And I do know that KU at West Pymble is doing a fantastic job with introducing their children to bushwalks and being out in nature every day. So yeah, it would be wonderful if all of those programs, were all over. So the question was, could all of the council's programs be offered to preschools? It would be wonderful. However, we're just going to have to take it step by step, I suppose, with that. But thank you for the idea.
Sally, if I could just say a quick thing about the wildflower garden. In terms of the excursions for preschools, like we have some great offerings, but we're open every day and it's free entry, as most people know. And we get preschools come here all the time just for a walk, and they usually use the really great picnic facilities that we have. We have a small playground. So preschools are always welcome to come here.
That's good to know. Yeah, and it's free as well, isn't it? Just to walk through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, I have got a question for Alex, just in case he's fallen asleep. Alex, how many beehives how many native stingless beehives have you split in the past 12 months? And can you tell us a bit about it?
The past 12 months. So the season's only just started this year. So I've done about 25 so far. But across a year, myself and also Lindy as well, who helps me, and Kim, who's not on, but between us, we can split well over 150. So it's been a difficult few years. The weather's been very bad for the bees, wet summers and cold winters, but they are remarkably resilient. So I've just been splitting hives today and saw 4 beautiful hives, all very happy. And hopefully that'll be 4 more beautiful hives to go to maybe a school or maybe another resident. So yeah, they're still fighting fit. They're still getting through it. And I'm sure if anyone wants one, we'll be able to sort one out.
Fantastic. That's great to know. Okay. Just a reminder to people watching, if you've got any questions, now is the time for you to pop them in the Q&A box, because I can't see any there now, but as soon as you've got an idea, please pop it in and we'll answer it on the spot. I'm just going to ask a question now to Anna. Anna, what is your favourite part of the wildflower garden and why?
Oh, so many great spots, but probably one of my favourites is on a track called the Fitzgerald track, and it has really big bloodwood trees and lots of signs of the sugar glider. So the sugar glider eats the sap from the bloodwoods, and you can see the markings on the tree, which I love to look at. And at a particular spot on the Fitzgerald is a little bit of a sandstone rock outcrop, which is a great spot to stop and do a big old cooey, and it bounces off the ridge line, and kids really love doing that. That's probably my favourite spot.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Oh, wow. I might have to check out that Fitzgerald track.
I'll show you.
Okay. All right. I've got one question in the Q&A box. This is exciting. Okay. Do the beehives get split yearly? Alex, I think that's a question for you.
Yeah, so no, we don't split them yearly. We do them every 2 years here in New South Wales, or at least in the Sydney region, because they need a lot more time to recover than they would in the sort of subtropics of Queensland. It's worth noting, though, that a beehive never needs to be split. So we only split them to make a new one to give to somebody else. But a hive will happily live in the same box for decades and doesn't need our intervention. If you have got one, if you're a school that's already got one, or you're thinking about it in the future, then all you need to do is get in touch with us, and we can arrange to have the beehive split for you. It's something you want to do in terms of a learning opportunity, and the kids really love it when we do that. So yeah, we're certainly capable of doing that for you.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. And I was just thinking then, actually, when I was doing my rounds last week and early this week of the early learning centres, one early learning centre actually asked me whether the beehive could be split in front of the children. So Alex, have you ever done that before?
Yes, yeah, I've done it quite a few times. It's no more difficult for me. It's just a case of if it's an older hive, so if it's one of our original ones where it had a polystyrene case, then there's sort of about half an hour's worth of prep before I can open the hive. So we just sort of organise it where I come in, I start the preparation, then once it's ready to go, we get the kids out. If it's one of the newer ones, which if any of the teachers watching now are thinking about getting a hive, they'll have a new one, then it should work. It should work really well. And the kids can be as close as they like. They can try some honey if we get some, and they get to see the inside of the hive, which is really beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It is a really beautiful conical shape. It's beautiful. Not conical, spherical. Yeah, amazing. Well, that's good to know. Okay. And some people, well, actually, I think Alastair has said that it's good to know about the hive. So theirs is old and it has never been split. So maybe that was before the day of Alex. Would that be right, Alex?
Yeah, sorry, I was having a bit of a technical problem. Yes.
Really?
So if it's been a very long time, then it's probably before I was there. But if schools want them split, then we can arrange that and schedule it in for a specific date.
Excellent. So Alistair, if you wouldn't mind flicking an email through to me, and we'll make sure that that happens for you. Thanks. Right, moving along to my questions. I'm going to ask Anuj a question now from Solomar School. Anuj, what is the largest solar PV system that's been installed in Ku-ring-gai, and how much money does that school save per year?
Well, I think out of the 4, about 3 of them are very similar in sizes. So they're about between 40 and 50 kilowatt in size. And they have a payback period of about, well, less than 3 years, 2.5 years. So it varies. I mean, collectively, the 4 schools save about close to $30,000 per annum. So it's about 26, no, collectively. Because, yeah, we don't have the details as such in terms of the actual savings, because most of them have just about done it, but it's estimated that they would recover their cost in less than 3 years' time. So and the cost of these are close to about $20,000 or $25,000 for that matter. So you could kind of estimate savings about $7,000 to $8,000 per annum. And in public schools, one needs to remember, because it's now these bills, or at least the cost of electricity, is now managed by the Department of Education. So the savings don't exactly come to the school. It actually goes to the Department of Education. However, the Department of Education does provide, I think, about a fixed cost of about $7,000, $7,500. I don't recall the exact amount, but close to between $7,000 to $8,000 for per annum for a period of 7 years to the school that installs solar. So those are the funds that can be used for any other projects that the school might be interested in, develop.
Fantastic. Thank you, Anuj. Well, it certainly sounds like it's well worth getting a solar system on your roof if you've got the space and the sun to run them.
I could add to that, because we've got 2 high schools that have signed up, and there's a potential to put close to 100 kilowatts on their rooftop. So yes, it'll get bigger.
Oh, wow. Well, that would be great. Okay, thank you for that. I've got a question for Lindy now. Lindy, how many students are currently signed up to do bush care as part of their Duke of Edinburgh Award, and how have they benefited from being part of the program?
We've got about 38 at the moment, Sally. Of course, that varies across the year, because the bronze level they have to do, I think, about 10 hours, and then up to the silver and gold, that's progressively more hours that they need to spend. Quite a lot of the bronze students who are at the bronze level are about they're about the 14-year-old mark generally, and some of them will just do one sort of season. They'll get their bronze certificate, and then they'll leave the program. But we do get a few that stay on and do their silver and gold, and that's great, because then they get really engaged with the volunteer groups. And we have the Young Environmental Volunteer Award, which they're nominated for. So they certainly get a lot of recognition for their hard work, and they get a lot out of it. The benefits to them is that the engagement with the environment. They learn so much about the flora and fauna of Ku-ring-gai, and the social skills, working with diverse groups of people, different age groups and from different cultures, and just we find that the ones that really enjoy nature, and so many young people want to do something positive towards nature, with nature, to help it. So they get a lot of pleasure out of it, and we feel it's a good place for them to relax too, and get a bit of a wind down from maybe high pressure school or something like that. It's a very nice way for them to connect with nature, and so it's good for mental health, it's good for social skills, and it's good for reinforcing community values.
Fantastic. I think I might have to get involved with it myself. Excellent. Thank you, Lindy. All right. Now I've got a quick question here. So this is a question for Alex and also for you, Lindy. It's got a bit of both. So private preschools are not able to apply for the environmental grant. That is a question, and that is true. But are they able to apply for the beehives?
Yes. So if they've secure their own funding, whether that be through a separate grant or within their own budgets, they are more than welcome to go down on the list for a beehive. I always put the schools and childcare centres first. So even if we were in a year that can be quite bad, so for example, this year is going to be challenging, you're always at the top of the list. So I always prioritise those. So if you are interested in a beehive and you're a private childcare centre, you can certainly still apply to have them, but you would just have to buy them with funds that you've taken from somewhere else as opposed to from the environmental levy.
Excellent.
We should probably just say how much they are, Alex.
Yeah, sure. So for schools and childcare centres, we have a discount of them down to $420. So that includes the box, the beehive itself, a healthy colony that's inside. I'll come and install it for you and talk you through it. And I'll always be on the other end of the phone or an email if you need any help with that. If you want to sort of have any additional bits, if you want to have an observation hive, then we can sort that out for you as well. But it's going to be the first ones are around 420. The observation hives can go up to about 500 because I've got to make them specially. But going forward, you'll always have support from me. And if something were to happen to that hive within the first 12 months of you having it, then I would replace it for you.
And do they also get tube stock plantings?
So we haven't offered tube stock plantings with the beehives. We do offer those with the bee hotels, however. Oh, and the bee hotels are the same price as a beehive. So with the bee hotel, you have the hotel itself. You have the plants that come with it. I'll come and install it, locate it for you as well. And the support issue is exactly the same. So you'll get support as you go through. And you'll also get a little emergence box to keep the baby bees in when they're ready to emerge in the spring.
Sounds amazing. Okay, thanks for that. That's good to know. All right, I'm going to move on. I've got one more question, and it is for James. James, what is the number one thing that kids can do to make a bushfire survival plan?
The number one thing children can make a bushfire survival plan. Okay. Well, I would highly recommend talking to the parents about the need to make a bushfire survival plan, especially if they have a pet, because a lot of families in Ku-ring-gai have pets, and their pets are things are often left off these bushfire survival plans. So overall, I'd say go to the climate-wise communities, talk to your parents, and say, "Mum and Dad, let's make a plan. I want to stay safe during the bushfire. We live close to the bush." And go to the climate-wise communities and go through the Ready Step, which is a 5-step process, which the whole family can go through. And the Ready Check involves, and the Ready Check is on the climate-wise communities website. It's very easy to find. The link is on the webpage. It's on the homepage. And the Ready Check is a 5-step process which goes through your risks, where you live, and what hazards are present at your location. It goes through a checklist on your personal situation, and then there's a checklist to do with the vulnerabilities of your home, as well as your neighborhood. And you can do as much or as little of the Ready Check as you like. Save each step to a PDF, and then use that information to make a bushfire survival plan, which can be downloaded from the RFS website. It's a really good family activity. It gets people talking about what risks you're exposed to, and how to actually put it all together. And so I recommend that's probably the best way of going about it. Other than that, you can always just simply send us a question via the Ask an Expert function on the Climate-wise Communities webpage, and those questions will come to me, and I will happily contact you and give you some tips on how to make a bushfire survival plan, and even put you in contact with our friendly local RFS RFS members in the Ku-ring-gai Brigade or the Kalara Brigade, depending on where you live. Once you make a bushfire survival plan, you can test your plan with this thing called the What If Wheel. Yeah, the What If Wheel is found on the Morris Community's webpage. And what it is that it's a fun and interactive tool which you can use to test your plan to see if it actually cuts the mustard in terms of its robustness. It's a wheel that you click a button and it spins around, and when it stops, it'll give you a random scenario of what could possibly go wrong and make your plan a bit, it's a random scenario they'll pop up and make you think about whether or not your plan can cope with that unexpected scenario.
Oh, that sounds great.
That's what I'd suggest you do.
Yeah, thanks for that, James. That sounds good. All right. Well, first of all, we heard about the native stingless bees and the bee hotel programs that are available to all schools and preschools and early learning. Then we had the wildflower garden rangers with the Living World Science excursions, K to 6, or actually K to 12. And that was followed by the Solar My School program. And then we had the Bush Care Volunteer program with students and the Duke of Ed Award in high school. And then we had the Climate Wise Communities programs, educating students about extreme weather events for all ages. And lastly, we heard about waste workshops, incursions, and return and earn bins. So I just wanted to say that now is actually a really good time to be thinking about which environmental activities you want to put into your programs, possibly even for next term, for next year, which is next term. You might like to be thinking about how that is going to fit into your school or your early learning budget coming up, seeing as we're into the 22-23 financial year. So now's a good time for you to start thinking about what sorts of things you might want to implement into your teaching programs. Now, if you're interested in anything that you've seen here this afternoon, then please send me an email and I will put you in touch with the relevant person if I can't answer your question myself. There are a couple more questions in the Q&A box. So just before I go on, there's a question here from Alistair, and he says, with solar, does the program have a review of existing panels to check that they are functioning correctly? And are there any suggestions for upgrading? Anuj, would you be able to take that question?
Yes, sure. Look, the Solar My School program generally looks at installing large new systems. Now, the thing is, with existing systems, you're likely to have access to an online platform through which you can actually figure out whether the panels or the system is functioning the way it's meant to. If not, the best way would be to go about getting an electrician or a solar installer to have a look at it. The Solar My School program is basically, it involves a lot of independent stakeholders who come in and actually do the site review, etc. So we make sure that there are no biases in the whole decision or the project management stage of it. So the program kind of addresses it very differently. So if your school required a new large system to put in place and you wanted to review your existing system at that stage, they could definitely have a look at it, what the status of that system is and whether it should be removed and replaced with a new system altogether, or it would just be a new system working in tandem with the old. In other words, you probably end up having two systems in place. But no, through the Solar My School program, we don't offer a service where we come to review your existing system. That would probably cost you a lot less to get an outside electrician to do so. The program, in fact, the delivery of the program is such where it actually costs council close to about $8,000 to engage one school. So the process is very rigorous, and there are a lot of stakeholders, like I mentioned, who come into play for it. So that's not the service that we would provide through that program.
Okay. Thank you, Anuj. Good to know. All right, there's another question. And this one is, with the return and earn bins, will they cost the centres? So that might be a good question for you, Sally. Are you able to unmute yourself?
Sure. There's no charge to have the bins delivered, and then it's up to the schools to return the containers themselves.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so there's no cost for the bins whatsoever. All right, If there are any other questions at all, please pop them in the Q&A box, because we're looking at wrapping up very soon if there's no other questions. So I'll just carry on with what I was talking about. Following today's webinar, you will receive an email with links to further information about how to register for all of these programs. And I'll also be sending you a survey to complete. And I'd really appreciate your feedback to help make our events better for next time. So there are no more questions. So without any further ado, I think that we'll have to finish up there. Oh, look at that. That looks amazing. So there are our programs. We're hoping that we'll hear from you very soon. Please don't be a stranger. I would love to hear from you and be able to support you on your sustainability journey. So thank you for coming to the webinar this afternoon. Thank you to our talented presenters for providing a snapshot of what councils have to offer schools and early learning centres. We hope to hear from you soon. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.